This reflection is just one perspective. You may see any number of invitations to worship in these artworks, and God may speak to you in any number of ways. Stay with what stands out to you in particular, whether that be image, word, or thought. Allow this time to be one of prayer to be spent with God. This series is titled Via Maria and was created for a chapel in Belgium. While the style of different scenes is similar to the traditional Stations of the Cross, it does not follow the traditional content. Instead, each scene focuses on the relationship between Mary and Jesus, focusing on her as a model for the life as a follower of Christ. These pieces are part of a series of 8. Unfortunately, I only have images of 7. Each work is created out of the vast waste material collected by the artist. This process of collecting discarded materials and then reforming them recognises that objects may not have only one use or one life, that once they have served their initial purpose, another may be found. They can be reformed, combined with other objects, reshaped and reused. It acknowledges the long process of decay that many of these objects have, and a great love for nature through this intentional recycling. Each piece is like a puzzle. The individual pieces come together to form the works, and they are fitted together like words in a poem. Maybe slightly shaped or modified, but generally still recognisable in their original form. They are simply placed together carefully and thoughtfully. Their variations of texture, colour and material offer beautiful visual contrast. Their different textured surfaces call us closer, making me wish I could run my finger over the various surfaces and feel the differences between the wood, the tin and the stone. Even though these pieces are formed out of discarded materials, they are not solemn. Rather, there is a quiet and peaceful joy about them, both in their form and their content. Despite their solid materials, they are not heavy. Rather, their contrasting smaller size draws us in. The even smaller windows of Mary's life ask us to go even closer and to peer into what is happening in the small stone window. The scenes chosen from Mary's life are those that demonstrate the progression of relationship with Jesus. They include both everyday situations you might expect a mother and son to encounter, as well as those moments that demonstrate the immense difference for this mother and son. After the surprise announcement of the impending birth, there are quite a few of what might be otherwise quite ordinary scenes. Mary visiting relatives, a birth, the presentation of a young child at the temple, the momentary losing track of a child, moments of everyday life, and attending a wedding together. These are all events the mother of the time and today may experience, yet the care with which these scenes have been shown, and the slight variations of the more extraordinary moments between this mother and son, highlight the difference of Jesus. The final scene is of Mary at Jesus' cross, and this is the one I do not have the image for. But even this can be a reflective moment for us, even without it. Just knowing that this is the final piece emphasises the sacrifice of Jesus' life and points towards the great joy that followed just 3 days later. In the absence of this piece, we might imagine what it might be like, taking into consideration what we know of the other pieces of the series. We can imagine the variety of materials that may encase the final piece. We can possibly even feel the sorrow such an image may cause to rise up in us. But this place of sorrow is never the place that we stay in. Instead, we are called to look forward to the light that came forth on the Sunday when Jesus rose, able to now be a part of all of us, no longer bound to only one place and time. This series is placed within a chapel, places that ideally recognise the everydayness of life, but also that which we can't fully understand in the gift of the resurrected Jesus. In the absence of this final piece, we are given the opportunity to imagine not only this final piece, but the many more that we could add to the series, gathering together discarded objects that remind us of the transitory nature of life, the many ways in which discarded items can be reclaimed. We can focus on the simplicity and beauty of these small, and in some ways quite humble works that portray such an amazing story.